very small room, and she physically put me in the bed next to this undressed man who was very famous and had his hands like this.
So, days after reports began circulating about Hayden Panettiere discussing painful experiences from her younger years in Hollywood, a shocking story started spreading online, claiming that she had suddenly died. But there's a major problem with that story. There is no reliable confirmation that Hayden Panettiere has died. So claims about police hiding her cause of death, TMZ blaming an overdose, or investigators looking at her boyfriend should not be presented as established facts.
We now know that Hayden Panettiere was found unresponsive in Greenville, South Carolina, and her death is now being investigated.
That distinction matters because celebrity rumors can move crazy fast online. One dramatic post gets copied by another account, then somebody adds another detail, and suddenly speculation starts looking like a confirmed news report. Claims involving an overdose, suspicious circumstances, or somebody possibly being responsible for a death are especially serious. Without verified police statements, medical examiner findings, court records, or trustworthy reporting, those details remain unsupported. Hayden has publicly discussed difficult periods in her life, including struggles involving substance use and unhealthy relationships. Those real experiences can make a sensational rumor sound believable, but they do not prove that something happened to her. They also do not prove that Hollywood executives, former partners, or anyone else covered up a crime. Connecting separate events without evidence can turn a legitimate discussion about exploitation in the entertainment industry into a story built around accusations that have not been established. The same goes for claims involving Brian Hickerson. His past relationship with Hayden has received extensive public attention, including reports about domestic violence cases. But that history cannot automatically be used as proof that he was involved in some new alleged incident. If authorities were actually investigating a death, the responsible move would be to separate confirmed evidence from internet speculation and wait for official information.
I want to know who that woman was. The one she trusted, the one that she said she thought was going to protect her, but instead brought her down to a bedroom, physically put her in bed with a naked man.
And this is where the story gets messy. Hollywood has faced very real scandals involving exploitation, addiction, abuse, and powerful people protecting themselves. Those issues deserve serious attention, but using those documented problems to support an unverified celebrity death story can muddy the whole conversation. The stronger angle is what can actually be proven, who said what, and whether the evidence backs up the claims spreading online. You see, Hayden opened up about her addiction struggles back in 2022, and what she described was seriously disturbing. She said she had battled opioid and alcohol addiction for years, and that her exposure to substances started when she was around 15 and working as a young actress. According to Hayden, someone on her professional team gave her what were described to her as happy pills before red carpet appearances because they wanted her energetic and upbeat during interviews.
We did press all the time, and I was a little low energy, and it was, here, take one of these, it's a happy pill, it'll give you energy. So I didn't think of it at the time as like a bad thing.
Yeah,
or
right. How old were you?
I was 16, and it must have been something that was similar to like an Adderall,
Yeah.
but they had got it from Mexico. I should have thought that's so sketchy, but I didn't, because I trusted
Right.
the person.
Yeah.
And it did give me that little bit of energy, and I didn't feel like high and out of control, but I did feel like happy. And
Hayden said she did not fully understand at that age how inappropriate the situation was, or where those choices could eventually lead. As she got older, her substance use became far more serious, eventually developing into struggles with opioids and alcohol. In her own description, those substances reached a point where she felt like she could barely function without them. Things became even harder after she gave birth to her daughter, Kaya, in 2014. Hayden said she experienced severe postpartum depression and struggled emotionally during that period. She described having difficulty connecting with her baby and said she did not understand what was happening inside her own head.
I wanted to hide away. I didn't want to be around my child and all the time. Like I loved her and she was sweet, but that maternal instinct didn't kick in as the way that I would have expected, and I just became depressed.
According to Hayden, nobody had properly warned her about postpartum depression or explained the warning signs she needed to watch for. During that difficult period, Hayden said her dependence on alcohol and other substances became increasingly serious. The addiction began affecting almost every corner of her life, from her career to her personal relationships and her role as a mother. In 2018, Kaya went to live with her father, Vladimir Klitschko, while Hayden focused on treatment and getting stable. Hayden later described that situation as incredibly painful, but said Kaya was safer and better off with her father while she worked through her addiction. She eventually entered inpatient treatment in 2020 and reportedly spent around 8 months there, showing just how serious her battle had become. And just when Hayden seemed to be getting her life back on track, she suffered another devastating loss. Her brother, Jansen Panettiere, died in February 2023, just weeks before the premiere of Scream 6. Hayden later spoke about how deeply his death affected her, and there was plenty of online speculation about what that grief may have done to her recovery. But claims that she relapsed should not be treated as fact without reliable evidence. This is also where some online theories take a much darker turn. People have tried to connect Hayden speaking publicly about disturbing experiences in Hollywood with unsupported claims that the industry wanted to silence her. There is no verified evidence establishing that anyone in Hollywood targeted or killed Hayden, and claims about her death should not be presented as fact. What can be examined is what Hayden herself has publicly said about the industry. She has spoken openly about addiction, exploitation, relationships, and the pressure she experienced while growing up in entertainment. Those allegations are already serious enough without adding claims that cannot be backed up. One particularly disturbing story attributed to Hayden described an experience when she was around 18, involving someone she had trusted as an adult and protector. According to the account, she was taken onto a boat and brought into a room where an older man was allegedly waiting, naked. The situation, as she described it, left her feeling that what was happening was disturbingly routine for him. In her own words, this was just an average day for him.
And it was somebody led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back. And to be walked down, down the stairs, and it was as like a surprise, presented as though it was like a surprise. And it was this very small room, and she physically put me in the bed next to this undressed man.
That line immediately grabbed attention online. People naturally wanted to know who Hayden was talking about, especially because the alleged man's identity was not publicly established in the account. Internet users then began digging through old photographs and entertainment coverage, including paparazzi images reportedly showing Hayden around yachts and parties during roughly 2007. But old photographs do not prove the identity of an unnamed person or establish that someone committed misconduct. The real story here is Hayden's own account and the disturbing power imbalance she described. Anything beyond that needs solid evidence before names, motives, or criminal behavior can fairly be attached to anyone.
It's not about who you spend Saturday night with, it's who you spend all day Sunday with. And Hayden Panettiere is a Sunday girl.
Apparently, one of the names dragged into the online speculation was former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member Diana Jenkins. There had already been an old rumor accusing Diana of being a Hollywood madam, a claim she strongly denied. When that rumor resurfaced in 2022, Diana took legal action over what she said were false accusations, so her team was quick to shut down any attempt to connect her to Hayden's story. Diana's team told TMZ, "Diana has had to deal with false online rumors before, and sadly, this is just another example of that. So let me be 100% clear about this. It most certainly is not Diana, and anyone who claims it is her will be sued." Now, 2007 was also around the time Heroes was blowing up, and Hayden was dating her Heroes co-star, Milo Ventimiglia. She was constantly photographed around famous people, and internet detectives started digging through those old connections after Hayden's story gained attention. But being photographed with somebody does not establish that person was present during the alleged incident or knew anything about it. According to Hayden's account, the people around her during the disturbing situation did not step in to protect her when she needed help. That detail understandably made people ask serious questions about the adults surrounding her at the time. But online speculation then went way further, with theories claiming powerful Hollywood figures wanted to silence her. There is no verified evidence supporting claims that anyone had Hayden killed or covered up her death. Then, Brian Hickerson's name started getting pulled into the discussion because of his troubled history with Hayden. Their relationship had already made headlines for serious reasons, and Hayden had publicly discussed how toxic things became between them. That documented history is disturbing enough without turning Brian into a suspect in an unverified death story. Their relationship became major public news back in May 2019, when Hickerson was arrested following an alleged domestic violence incident involving Hayden. That particular case was later dismissed in September 2019. Other legal issues involving the couple would follow, keeping their turbulent relationship in the headlines. So while people online may connect old allegations, photographs, relationships, and Hayden's own experiences into one explosive theory, those pieces do not automatically prove a larger conspiracy. The confirmed details surrounding what Hayden actually experienced are already serious and messy enough on their own. Brian was arrested again on Valentine's Day 2020 in Teton County, Wyoming, after Hayden told police that he had allegedly gotten physical with her during an argument and hit her. Days later, after she obtained a protective order against him, he was charged in California in an 8-count complaint, with 7 of those 8 charges reportedly being felonies. The situation had clearly become extremely serious. Hayden also released a statement at the time. "I am coming forward with the truth about what happened to me, with the hope that my story will empower others in bad relationships to get the help they need and deserve. I am prepared to do my part to make sure this man never hurts anyone again." Fast forward to April 2021, and Brian pleaded no contest to 2 felony counts connected to injuring Hayden. He was sentenced to 45 days in jail, 4 years of probation, 52 DV classes, and a 5-year restraining order barring him from her. But despite everything that had happened between them, Hayden and Brian later reconnected. She said their reunion depended on him continuing down a road of recovery and that he understood he deserved the consequences he faced. Now, that documented history explains why Brian attracts so much attention whenever people discuss Hayden, but it does not make him a suspect in an unverified death, and there is no basis to claim that the FBI is investigating him over Hayden's death. That is where internet speculation starts getting ahead of the actual evidence. Meanwhile, people online have been pushing some seriously dramatic theories. One person said, "She was coming out to tell the truth and they took her out." Another person said, "She was grieving her brother and was deep in depression after giving birth and turned to alcohol, but something is very suspicious after the yacht story came out." Those comments show exactly how quickly Hayden's real experiences can get mixed with conspiracy theories. Her documented allegations and struggles are serious, but claims about murder, Hollywood cover-ups, or secret investigations need actual evidence before they can be treated as facts. And that is where this whole conversation gets even deeper. Hayden has spent years speaking publicly about addiction, difficult relationships, grief, and the darker experiences she says she faced while growing up in Hollywood. Those are documented parts of her story, and they are already heavy, without turning every unanswered question into some secret plot. The internet moves differently, though. Once those yacht allegations started making rounds, people began pulling up old photos, interviews, friendships, and Hollywood connections, trying to figure out who Hayden could have been talking about. Suddenly, anybody photographed around her became part of somebody's theory. But being in the same social circle is not evidence that someone witnessed misconduct or participated in anything inappropriate. What makes Hayden's account hit so hard is the power imbalance she described. She was a young actress surrounded by adults who had influence over careers, access, and opportunities. When someone in that position says a trusted adult allegedly placed them in an inappropriate situation, the focus should stay on what was actually described and what evidence exists. And people also started looking back at Hayden's older interviews with fresh eyes. Moments that once seemed like regular celebrity conversations suddenly looked different to viewers who now knew about the struggles she had described behind closed doors. That does not prove a conspiracy, but it does show how carefully managed a celebrity's public image can be while their private life is falling apart. Then there are the unanswered questions people keep throwing around online. Who was the unnamed older man? Who else knew about the alleged situation? Did anyone around Hayden recognize what was happening? Those questions are understandable, but random names should not be attached to serious allegations without evidence. Because beneath all the wild theories is a much grounded controversy. Hayden's own account raises uncomfortable questions about how young performers were treated in Hollywood. Who was supposed to protect them? And what happened when the people they trusted allegedly failed them? But now, I want to hear what you think. Do you believe the theories surrounding Hayden's story have any real evidence behind them? Or do you think people online are connecting separate controversies and turning them into something much bigger than the facts support? And what do you make of all the speculation surrounding Brian? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep it respectful and tell us which part of the story stood out to you the most. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment. And don't forget to click here to watch this other messy story.